simply is with noticing the energy of the other person and being able to wave right the energy with them. The last one, making time stand still. There are two ways in which we do that. Does anybody in this, I'm going to put you on the spot, does anybody in this room occasionally meditate? Wow, a lot of hands going up. Awesome. You know, the gift of meditation is when it works, and sometimes meditation is hell, as we know, right? We notice the chatter in our head, we notice the stories we're telling ourselves, we want to get to a moment of peace, but we're just not getting there on that day. But when it works, there are three levels of letting go. Right? We let go of sort of our mental chatter, we let go of our physical stress, we let go of the desire to distract ourselves, and for a moment we have a sense of peace when time seems to stand still. And that's the private part. And I think the reason it's so awesome that you're meditating, the benefits are ridiculously wonderful, but one is that we carry that spirit into our professional relationships, and we create richer connections with everybody. But I'm going to take you to sort of what I call the sexy part of standing still, which is almost the opposite. We often call it the flow experience, where we are so engaged in something, in an activity that's so pleasurable, where we lose track of time. You know, we look at the clock and we go, geez, 2 hours just went by, and I thought it was 10 minutes. And the more we can create that experience in our workplace, the more successful we are with everybody we work with. And the only thought I want to leave you with there when it talks about the flow experience, and I'm saying this as somebody, I'm sort of a beach bum who lives in Florida near the ocean, and I go to the beach every day. When I lie down on the beach and in the sand and do nothing, which I enjoy doing, I don't have a flow experience. I might have a very nice experience. Flow tends to happen when we're engaged in an activity that's a little challenging for us, that forces us to be at our best. If it's too challenging, we get frustrated. If it's too simple, we get bored. Like people often say, like if you're a tennis player and you want to become a better player, you play with somebody who's a little better than you. If they're too good, you just want to give up. But if you play with somebody a little better, that engagement gets you to the flow state. And that's a powerful way to engage with everybody that we work with, and gets to a deep level of satisfaction, which absolutely leads to people wanting to continue to work with us. So this is, I call this sort of the promise. When this stuff works, I think at the moment in my life, we go back to the early 90s. I had left my life in New York. I'd moved to Tobago, a very small island at the far end of the Caribbean, which I loved. And I moved there for many reasons. But one reason was to become a windsurfer. I became a good windsurfer. After a year of windsurfing, I was bored with Tobago. And I came back to New York and I was broke. Spent all my money. And I had to get a job, and I didn't want to work in showbiz anymore. I had my sort of transformative experience. And I remember a day, I was living on East 7th Street, and I got on the subway for a job interview for a social services agency in downtown Brooklyn, 50 Court Street. And this is before Brooklyn was sexy. Right? We're talking 1992. There was nothing hip about Brooklyn at the time. And I'm commuting out to Brooklyn, and I'm sitting in the subway, and I'm thinking to myself, your life is really going down the toilet. You're reverse commuting to a place where people come from to come into the city to Manhattan. And I walked up to 50 Court Street, and it was a depressing looking rundown building. And I took the elevator to the 5th floor, and I walk in, and I just remember the furniture looked shabby, like was frayed around the edges. The paint was peeling, and I just wanted to run the hell out of there. But somebody grabbed me and walked me to the room where I was going to have my job interview. And seriously, I walked into a room that had no decorations on the walls, no artwork, no flowers, no windows. It was just a desk. And a woman rose She had this wonderful dreads that were just bouncing up and down as she was talking to me. She had this big, beaming smile. And within 30 seconds, I knew that I wanted to work with her, even though everything else about this place was wrong. So that's a moment where, on a deeper level, something happened. And she allowed it to happen, and I allowed it to happen. She became my mentor, and she's been a good friend for the rest of my life, even though we've only worked together for 2 years. So my invitation to you all is to play with the unspoken. I've given you some language around it. And have some fun playing with it. Because this stuff, whether we like it or not, is going on all the time. And I think people who are more successful know how to manage this stuff. Thank you very much. And for me, the most important part now is actually having a conversation about this and questions and whatever. So, thank you. The floor is open. And I know we don't have a mic, but this is a small space, so we do have a mic. Okay. Any thoughts, reactions, questions?